Hello and welcome to a overview of the biomechanics track. My name is Matt Williams, and I am the track leader for this track. And biomechanics is, honest, I'm biased, but it's the coolest track. So what is biomechanics? Well, simply, it's the application of mechanics to solve biomedical problems using physical devices and mechanical analyses. What's that mean? Well, mechanics is the science that deals with energy and looks at how simply it's how do things move and the forces involved in that movement. This track is aligned, as the name implies, with mechanical engineering and has a very long history of practice. In terms of biomedical engineering, it might be one of the oldest branches of biomedical engineering. Starts out, I mean, this is one of the oldest prosthetic devices known to man. It is a artificial toe from ancient Egypt, and our prostheses have come a long way, but they got started about 3,000 years ago. So biomechanics, in addition to prosthetics, one part of it is looking at the mechanics of body systems. So looking at tissue mechanics, how do the loads, what are the loads and the stresses involved in say the spine and the vertebra of the spine under different actions and conditions. It looks at organ function. So if you want to, the heart is basically a mechanical pump, and if you want to invent a new or a better artificial heart, it's important to understand the mechanics of how the fluid flows through and the overall function of the organ itself. A lot of it is looking at joints and limbs. So this would be for artificial shoulders, artificial knees, things like that. And then you get into prosthetics and orthotics. So this would be replacements for missing limbs and portions of the body, as well as orthotics, which work in parallel to the body to stabilize weak body structures. So this would be like braces and things like that. It also looks at biomechanics looks at the whole body as well. So this would be gait analysis. This is used a lot in rehabilitation. If you want to know if someone is walking correctly, say after stroke or after an injury, and after the rehab, you can assess their progress with gait analysis. Rehabilitation is also heavily part of biomechanics. Ergonomics. So how do people interact with their environment physically, their work environment, their car, things like that. How do people interface with technology? There's also a small but important branch of biomechanics, which is human performance optimization. So looking at, say, athletes as they perform their sport, and then analyzing the forces and analyzing their body posture, and finding out what tips and tricks and what can they change in order to become an even better athlete. So, like all BME tracks, this does overlap with other tracks. In terms of biomaterials, there's strength of materials, which is directly applicable to biomechanics. The surface conditions, stress strain relationships, that really is sort of a crossover between biomaterials and biomechanics. In terms of the device and instrumentation track, you have implanted sensors for device control, as well as biomechatronics. So this would be like devices that mimic a biological structure, like a hand or a leg or something like that. In terms of the biomedical computing track, biomechanics crosses over in the modeling of body systems. So this might be modeling the stresses and strains in bones and tissues, or might be modeling the movement and the behavior of these structures. So example of a track overlap could be a drug-eluting stent. So a stent is a mechanical device. It's essentially a cage with a balloon inside, and this is threaded up through a vein into the heart, into arteries that are becoming blocked with plaque over time. They inflate the balloon, and then the cage once it's inflated, stays open and keeps that artery uh, from collapsing and which would cause damage to the heart due to lack of blood supply. But these stents, they become more than just a mechanical device. A lot of them have certain drugs that help reduce clots, that help reduce inflammation, that help reduce the formation of new plaques within the stent. And so these drugs are bonded to the mechanical device and then are emitted over time. That's one example of track overlap. Another, this is from my research with Dr. Tyler, and this is uh, it's an off-the-shelf hand, but what we have done is we have been able to put wires inside the muscles of the residual limb, and based on how he imagines moving uh, his his hand, we can translate those signals into the motion of this artificial hand. And this is one of the not only is that part of biomechanics, but we can also he has markers they'll see on his arm, and we are able to image his performance of this sort of mock-up of a functional task, putting something into a cup and then pouring it out. And we're able to image that and create a computer model and assess how his performance is different using this prosthesis from his intact hand and from his more conventional prosthesis. So it's not all prosthetics, as I said, prosthetics and 3D motion capture. A lot of biomechanics focuses on the design of mechanical devices intended for implantation. So this could be surgical tools, this could be bone plates, screws, different means of bone fusion. Um, this also would be part of biomechanics. And there's the emerging field of mechanobiology, which focuses on the way that physical forces change and influence cell growth. So Dr. Senyo talked about using microfluidics in order to study heart cells. Well, a lot of what they're finding is that the environment in which cells develop, including fluid flow, and not just chemical, but the mechanical environment in which they develop influences that development. And so the principles of biomechanics would directly apply there. Instead of looking at a whole body, you're now looking at mechanics at the cellular level, but the overall principles are still the same. You're still looking at the forces, you're still looking at how things move. So there's a number of career options. So a lot of people in the biomechanics track are industry minded, and we'll talk a little bit about the classes that are a part of this, but a lot of them apply to industry and to manufacturing. And so if you are interested in going and getting a job with a medical device company, the biomechanics track is an excellent place to prepare for that. Next, you also have people that go into research, and so this could be a research institution or a lab within a company, or it could be graduate school. So this would be researching medical devices, researching more on the rehab side, movement science, robotics, advanced robotics, human-machine interactions, like physical human-machine interactions, things of that nature. It's going to be more towards the rehab and whole body side of biomedical engineering research, but if you're interested in that kind of thing, again, biomechanics is a great place to prepare. In terms of those students that are going on into medicine, biomechanics track courses are excellent in preparing people for surgery. We've had individuals that go into dentistry, rehabilitation, so not rehabilitation research, but actually becoming a physical therapist, occupational therapist, prosthetist, uh, jobs of that nature, and sports medicine, because we do look at 3D modeling of the body. Law and government also is another popular destination for individuals graduating from the biomechanics track. So this could be intellectual property, patent office, regulatory affairs. It's a very, very lucrative position to be in, being an IP lawyer with a background in biomedical engineering and biomechanics in particular. That's a good combo. So just a few companies with a biomechanics focus. Some of these are in the Cleveland and Ohio area, Parker, Cleveland. Some of these are national, some of these are international companies. So there is a lot of opportunities for careers in industry coming out of the biomechanics track. So the track itself, there's 4 main parts. One is your K School of Engineering core. If you're in BME, you're not getting out of that. Then you have your BME core. Again, you're not getting out of that. Then we have, on top of those, we have the biomechanics track courses, and these are specific courses for the track. And then you have your biomechanics technical electives. Now, optional, and I'll talk about this in a bit, is a minor in mechanical design and manufacturing. So your core engineering curriculum, some of you are already getting into this now. You have your ENGR 131 or EECS 132. So this is generally taking your first year. Then you have ENGR 145, chemistry of materials, ENGR 200, which is statics and strength of materials, and 210, intro to circuits and instrumentation. Again, all of these are engineering core classes, and then there's also thermodynamics. I should not forget about that. Or physical chemistry of macromolecules. So these are your engineering foundational courses. Then you have your biomedical engineering breadth courses. And these are really the common courses that all BMEs take. This is sort of the core of what makes an engineer, a biomedical engineer versus a MechE or EE. So you have 201 and 202, which is physiology, 306, introduction to biomedical materials. And this also has a lab 356 associated with it. Then there's 308 and 358. These are all taken generally junior year. This is biomedical signals and systems. 310 and 360, principles of instrumentation. So this is sort of building on your circuits background to make sensors and things. And 309, 359 is the modeling of biomedical systems. And 318 or 328 is laboratory or research training. So these sort of round you out as a biomedical engineer. Now, what about the actual track courses themselves? Well, the biomechanics track curriculum, this is where we say you prepare your depth in biomedical engineering. So the track courses you need to take are 160 is mechanical manufacturing. This is a cool course where they actually teach you how to use all the machines to build stuff. EMA 181 is dynamics, sort of the classic mechanics, if you will. ESA 310, strength of materials, and EMA 260, design and manufacturing. And then all of this sort of comes together, and it's sort of a capstone of the track, not of your career that's senior design. But the conjoiner sort of caps and brings together all of your track specific courses. And for biomechanics, it's EBME 307, which is prosthetic systems. So on top of that, so that's the track core courses. on top of that, you pick three track electives. These are up to you, and this is where you sort of flavor your degree based on your interests. So some of these are more on the um, uh, BME side, if you will, like materials for prosthetics or orthotics. Um, but some are more on the manufacturing side. So like computers and mechanical engineering, design of mechanical elements is like for designing gears and transmissions and things. Advanced manufacturing technology, finite element analysis. So a lot of the track electives are actually mechie courses. So uh, if you are interested in the minor, is a minor in mechanical design and manufacturing. It is not a minor in mechanical engineering. Some tracks you get a minor in an engineering field, like device instrumentation. It's a minor in electrical engineering. Mechanical engineering is a very broad field. So the minor for this track is in a sort of a niche of the field, and it's mechanical design and manufacturing. And so two of the courses for that are already part of the track core. So you're doing them already. So then your three tech electives, you choose three of these courses here. So as you can see, they're heavily sort of skewed towards industry and manufacturing. So it's advanced manufacturing tech, design of mechanical elements, CAM, computer manufacturing. So if you are interested in going into industry, if you are interested in the making and building and selling of medical devices, this is not a bad option to go for this minor. So I would highly encourage co-op opportunities. It does take some planning. It's not like you can just plug and chug with the stock BME curriculum. You do have to sort of make room for um, fitting in this opportunity, this experience into your curriculum. Uh, but it's very beneficial. A lot, especially if you're going into industry. A lot of companies will, some of them won't even look at you if you go to co-op. Some of them will look. You'll definitely get a second look if you have co-op experience prior to applying. So co-op opportunities. We've had people go to Medtronic, Philips Healthcare, Invacare. Invacare is local. Biomet, Massey Glen is local. Cleveland Clinic is local. So there are local opportunities, and there's also opportunities across the country. So if you want to get out of Cleveland, don't blame you. Great place to live, but sometimes you got to get away. So there are places to go where you can learn more about engineering and how to apply the engineering principles you're learning to real world devices and problems. So if you are planning on going on a co-op, and this also applies if you're interested in study abroad or internships. Internships are a little less formal than, say, a co-op. Co-op is actually applying for a job. Internships are much shorter term, much less formal setup. But if you are planning on doing a co-op, study abroad, or internship, start planning in your second year. Most students co-op in the summer between junior and senior year, third and fourth year. So you want to start planning a year before that so that you can get your classes arranged. You know what to take, say, over a summer here and there. You know how you're going to handle being out of sequence if you have a longer co-op, and the application process itself takes some time. So start planning next year is really the key takeaway here. So is a biomechanics track tough? Yeah, but all the BME tracks are tough. Sometimes students think, oh, this track's easier, this track's more difficult. No. It's BME is a rigorous engineering program, and you want it that way because of its rigor, because of its reputation as being a solid engineering program. That opens doors for you. That gives your degree value. So you want it to be rough. You want it to be tough. Um, you know, all the tracks can do this, but I think biomechanics a bit more so than others because it is a little bit more hands-on. It is more um, oriented towards like rehabilitation and whole body systems and stuff like that. You will have the chance to work with people and have a direct impact on people's lives. Really, uh, it's incredible the relationships that you have with some of the people that you work with and the things that you can research and the things that you help to develop are life changing. Um, Again, a lot. It sounds cliche, but it's really true. If you love what you do, work is a hobby. Yeah, there's all sorts of tedious days. There's all sorts of tough days. There's all sorts of busy days. But in the end, when you look back and you think about what you do for a living, if you enjoy it and it brings brings you joy, if it has value to you, then work isn't a drudgery. Work is a joy. So that's the plug there for the cool stuff that you can do at the biomechanics track. So with that, if you do have any questions, please let me know.